Hello, everybody. How are you? Happy Memorial Day to you. So, it is bright, sunny, beautiful, warm, just about anything you'd want a Memorial Day to be. So, hello, everybody. I am very glad to see you again. And today, we're going to work on some more of my cutie pie undersea fish. So, whoops, let me do one thing really quickly. Okay. So, we have been busy trying to get things straight around here so that we can take some time off and refresh our souls. So it is so good to see you. Now oh my gosh, it is wonderful. Carol is here. She messaged me on my last show and I messaged her back. I am so glad to see you, Miss Carol. So we have Carol and Sonia and Rihanna's here. Hi, sweetie. I love that you have jumped in. You have jumped right in and put some great words of wisdom and encouragement on our site. We are so happy to have you in our group. I think you are going to be a wonderful member who is supportive and helpful, and it will be wonderful. And I hope that we will be supportive and encouraging and instructive and friendly with you. So, Kathy Klein is here. Hi, sweetheart. So I didn't know how many people would be here because it is Memorial Day, and hopefully people are out having cookouts with family and enjoying themselves a little. But Mary is here. Carol, it is so good to see you. I hope you're feeling good. I know that the last time you were having, just not feeling that well, and we miss you. We miss all of your talent. We miss your fun personality. And I am just so tickled to see Rihanna here. So this is wonderful. Kathy Klein, how have you been? And it's so neat because I see Kathy when I go on different other people's YouTubes. I will see Kathy's name pop up. It's like, I know her. So it is so good to see you. There's Miss Marcia. Happy Memorial Day. And, that's right. Carol was one of our moderators. So today we have Marcia and Carol being moderators. That's fantastic. Jody is here. Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing? And I haven't asked yet about the hair and stuff because I just wasn't sure. But when it's time for me to get pink hair dye, you let me know, okay? So it is so good. Mary, you just always make me smile. You're just so cute. So thank you. There is a lot of talent in this group, and I appreciate it. I told Mark this morning, I'm very glad that we're getting ready to take some much needed downtime. Because I took a look at this scenery and thought, oh my gosh. Now, I've done a little bit of straightening with it, but there's just too much going on around here. So I'm hoping to get myself centered and have some time to do some cleanup and organizing. Because, went on a long walk through the woods this morning, Kathy. Oh, it is a beautiful day, isn't it? Wow. So, did you go ahead and cut it? Is that what you did? 3/8 of an inch long. So I guess it did kind of fall out, huh? But now is it growing back or what? What's it doing? So, Yep. And, today is Memorial Day. We'll think of people that, that are no longer with us. But I choose to also think, thank goodness we're here. So that's where we're going. And it's hard losing your hair. That's, I don't know if people realize, but I am, for one, kind of hide behind my hair. And hi, ladies, Kaz. It's not too hot. Okay, good. But, you had your husband cut it. It was falling out like crazy. Yeah. But everybody, Jody has already had response to the treatment. So, I'm so tickled that it is responding so fast. So we're going to cross our fingers. We can't really imagine what you're going through. Each person's experience is so different, but know that we love you and you're my hero. I'm watching you go through this with such grace and such humor and such strength. And I know that Terry has a lot to do with that too, but you can't even feel it. Oh my God, Jody, that's wonderful. Because if you can get it to respond, that's the biggest hurdle. Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful, sweetheart. Yeah, there you go. Just I see what you mean, Rihanna. Just take care of it. Yep, I think that's wonderful. And I'm serious. Jody was joking about getting a pink wig, but I can get pink hair dye. So we will stand in solidarity, sweetheart. I don't know who in the world. Can I check this real quick in case there is a problem somewhere? But I don't know who in the world is. I normally don't get these kind of messages. Oh, okay. All right. It's between my girls. So now what I'm going to do. All right. I'm turning the sound down because I'm spending time with y'all right now. And unless there's an emergency, y'all are who I want to speak to. So, okay. The positive thought. I'm so hopeful, sweetheart. We got all of us out here rooting for you, and we love our Jody. So I'm so glad to see Kaz here. So I've been having some fun and trying to get meals organized, the house clean, because, if you're going to take a break, you need to take a break, which means you don't want to have to clean house during break. You don't want to have to cook during break. You want to be able to do what you want to do. Oh, I've got something to show you. Gromit. Oh, you're sleeping so hard. You want to come here so Mommy can show you off? Oh, you're sleeping so hard. I will get him in a moment. He had his vet visit Friday and his grooming. And he's so cute. And boy, when he gets cut short, you see how many spots he has. He's a very spotted dog. So, all right. So yesterday, I took a little break during the heat of the day, and I started working with crumbs. Now, for some of you who don't know what crumbs are a way to take scraps and turn the scraps into fabric. Now, yes, it's bulky, lots of seams, all of that. Understand that. But you turn them into scraps. You take all your little pieces, you anchor them to a big piece, or some of these weren't that little, and I wanted to make them very intensely colorful because of the project we're working on today. And so I took all these scraps, and here is what I turned them into. And what I did is I just I turned my logical part of my brain off. I sat there with my pretty scraps and I just started sewing. And if some of the pieces got too big, I just cut it and turned it around and sewed it again. And so let me show you the pieces that I made yesterday. And you can tell that they have something in common, but each one is just a little bit different depending on what scraps I was picking up. And here's another one. And there are plenty of seams in there, as you can see. But what a wonderful way to get happy, bold summer fabrics. So I had the best time doing this. And if it didn't lay flat, then I just cut it where it wouldn't lay flat and sewed it a different way. They are bright, bright colors. So this is how I played yesterday. And it does feel like play. It was wonderful. And then you end up with a gorgeous trash can. Look at this. I had such fun. And only thing got thrown away was smaller than a quarter. But so even if you don't have a bunch of little scraps, like let's say you have strips, because some of these have strips. This one still has a strip on it. Then just start stitching, and when you want to, just cut them. And I just cut them with scissors. I said, I didn't even want to bother to try to use my rotary cutter. But look at what happy fabric. This is the kind of stuff that makes me happy. Bright, lots of colors. And I've got some of my hand dyes in here. I've got just a little bit of everything. So that's what I played with yesterday. And then I took the bubbles, some of those bubbles I made, and I started putting them on fusibles. Then I can cut them out and iron them to the background, but they're going to be really cute. This is cute and fun. And, let me see. June 20th is coming up in a few weeks, but I want to celebrate summer. There's been enough stress and bad news out there that I don't need to dwell on that. I need to distract myself. And as I say, if you can't change it, then you have to take care of yourself. So here is my puffer fish, and I have good news. After I drew these, I scanned them so I can share them with you. And here is an angelfish. Even crumbs are, wow. Yeah, I would rather use it. And when you're putting them, when it's going to be the color of something small, you need a lot of small pieces to really brighten up that background. So now I'm going to look through, but I will, as I make each of the fish, I will have a pattern for you. Whoops. Poor thing, I thought he was dying. He was upside down. But I will have these patterns. And if you want to get some of these fish patterns, please let me put in my email here. You can just shoot me an email. Now, if I will put them on the group, so if you belong to our group, you can go find them there. Oh my gosh, Carol, it is so nice to have you back. Whoa, she's fast. Yay. Aren't the fish adorable? And that's just what this is going to be. This is just going to be fun. And as I was telling you, I'm using this effervescent fabric, and I'm going to choose my fish eyes out of there. So there'll be pretty good backgrounds for fish eyes, and then I can put a black dot with a permanent pen. So I'm very excited about this. Now let me get my iron turned on here, because today I'm going to work on this little guy. So let me find the background for that one. And when you look at the patches you make like this one, I predominantly see green. And then here kind of looks of pinkish orange. This is blue. This is pink and red. So even though they're kind of a hodgepodge, they all will have a slight difference. So what you can do is look at your fish and go, what do I feel like fits this fish? Now I'm going on this angelfish, I'm going to go ahead and do black fabric over it. But as I told you before, you can very easily choose any color you think would show up, because this basically is the outline color. So some of them I may do, like my puffer fish, I might do this gold. I've got lime green, I've got purple. I've got plenty of choices to choose from. So I'm going to go ahead, because I've noticed a lot of angelfish have black on them. So, and in fact, my lionfish, I never finished cutting it out last week. It is going to, I'm thinking of choosing this for my angelfish. And let me see how it's going to look. Let me see. I think you want to, what I'm doing is I'm placing the pattern on it. Let me come over here and show. Whoa, hello. Some would say, Deb, you have a screw loose. Let me tighten down this joint. And I would say, yes, I do. But anyway, okay. So here, whoops, I better move my bubbles. I don't want to iron my bubbles. Not yet. Okay. I've ironed my black fabric that'll go on top. But what you want to do is place your fish on the fabric. I don't really want, any way I turn this, some light pink is going to be on. Well, maybe this way is okay. I want to kind of look, where is that fish landing? Where is that fish? There, something like that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do really quickly is get out a piece of tailor's chalk and draw around the fish so I can cut this out. Now this time I want to do a really good job of laying the black fabric over it so that wherever I cut, I will start seeing. Oop, don't fall. Don't want to lose that. All right. Now, I won't be here next Sunday, but then I will be here. I won't be doing a show. I'll be here, but I won't be doing a show next Sunday, and I won't be doing a show Thursday. But the Sunday after, June, 14th or something, I will be here. All right. I have drawn the fish shape using the yellow tailor's chalk. See it there? Now let me cut that out very quickly. And I'm going to save my scraps from this, sew them back together for more scrap fabric. But, you know, think about this sometime. If you want something new, but you really don't want to buy fabric at that point, think about pulling out the fabric you have, pulling out your scrap bag, and I want to lay this here in case I can't. Sometimes with all these seams, it's hard to see where you drew. But anyway, but think about that. Make your own fabric. You know, put it together in ways that get you excited about using the scraps and making something new and exciting to work with. But Jody is the person who really showed me that scraps have value. And I don't know that I'll always use them, Jody might get another package one day, but she has shown me that there is a lot to be said. These smaller cut-offs and cast-offs aren't done yet. Okay. Now, I've decided I wanted to make his tail a little bit bigger, so I can do that because I am the creator of this artwork. So I made his tail a little bigger. I just have to remember that when I put the black over top. All right, here we go. Whew. These scissors are not my normal ones, and I can tell the difference. They hurt my fingers. Okay. And I'm just kind of rough cutting it. I'm not being too perfectionistic. For one thing, if I were to cut it too fussy, then it would become a problem in trying to match up the black to it just right. All right, so here this is. Now, some of these are small pieces, but some are pretty big. Look at this one. So these will go into my scrap bag to be recycled again. All right. So just think of that next time you see scraps. All right, so here is my fish. Here is the pattern. Okay. Remove the iron. In fact, you know what? I'm going to iron this. I'm going to iron it flat again, or try to. And I think what I would also like to do, Marsha's here. Hi. Isn't it great seeing Carol back? We have missed her, haven't we? All right. So what I'm going to do is kind of come in here and undercut some of these seams that are near the edge, because I have noticed some of them can be so bulky, they kind of get in the way at the edge of your work, and they're hard to remove once they've been sewn down. So like right here, this seam can kind of stick out of the design. So I'm just going to check. I hadn't done this before, and I'd had a little bit of a problem with them wanting to misbehave. And so anywhere like right here, look at this. This is a lot of seam that's not needed. So I cut that loose. Cut that away. So just go back and check, because when you're making your fabric, you don't care about this stuff then. And only where it bothers you is it a problem. So I'm kind of, this is something I'm doing that I just kind of made up from watching Angela Walters do something similar. She called it reverse applique. And it reminds me of the scratch through that we did in art class. So I'm thinking now, everything that's left, because sometimes the seams can be larger than the fabric in front of them. So it's good to kind of get them, like, see right here, when I'm holding this, you see how that seam shows? So what I'm going to do is just come in here and knock a little bit off of these seams, because they kind of want to stick out further than there. Now it's a lot cleaner. Okay? So these scraps will go in the trash. I'm not going to be silly, but I guess if you were wanting to do a confetti work, but I am trying very hard not to save too much, because I don't have, my seams are already bursting and in my spaces, so something has to give. All right. So then I will lay this black fabric over it. And the only problem about using, whoa, okay. using all of these scraps tends there it is. I was shaking the black fabric and my bracelet flew off into the trash can with scraps, and I knew if I didn't get that right away, I'd forget. All right. I have, here we go. Here we go. What do you do when you have too much lint and rainbow fish? Exactly. So I keep a little one of these little dollar store lint rollers handy. And boy, does that do a good job. All right. So now I'm going to lay the black fabric over the fish. Let me see. I don't want to waste fabric if I can help it. All right. And you want to make sure there's a little bit of space left over around the black fabric. Yes. Could you sew your green crumb? Oh, absolutely. That's a wonderful idea. Yeah, I have a feeling we'll be working on this for a little while because I've decided it's going to be a wonderful quilt to embellish. We're going to add all kinds of fun things like we did back in our first seascape. Okay. Now I've got to remember that I made the tail bigger. So I'll put it, and I'm really being careful to match up the paper on this so that I don't end up cutting and there's no beautiful colored fabric under there. So I'm just taking my time. And one thing I am going to do is I made the tail bigger, so I'm going to feel underneath, draw around the bigger tail so that I know where now to sew because it's not going to match up with the pattern. Okay. All right. So I'm feeling around it the best I can and putting some pins in. And when you have to, just pick it up and move it. Okay. Hold on, let me see. Okay. I think I need to move it up just a touch. This part takes a little longer. Now, what you could do if you didn't want to take this long to line it up is you could maybe skip the part of cutting the fish out of the scrappy fabric. But there's one problem with that where I like to sew off of the scrappy fabric because you get a cleaner seam line. And I'll show you what I mean as we're working on that. So I wanted the fabric to, like the underneath fabric to stop, and then I sew just beyond it because that way you get a much prettier, smoother seam. All right. Because it's hard, you know, if you sew even with the fabric. Wow. This fish is bigger. Hold on. This. Okay. So let me double check. And where I find the fish. Oh, summer beach house. Wouldn't that be fun? Yes. Be nice. It would be nice. Mark and I hope one day to retire closer to the ocean. I was born and raised in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, so I'm used to ocean. All right, so once again, I'm feeling that this is bigger, so I'm just going to come and draw this. Okay. And draw this. So that's, I'll know just to sew a little further out. Okay. All right. Now I'll cut off the excess because we don't want to, it just makes it easier when you go to sew this on. All right, then this black will go in my scrap bag. All right, now here is my background that I made last week with a bunch of curvy lines. Boy, does that make an easy ocean view, doesn't it? Now, this one, I think I want this one. Maybe this one will be here. Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. Let me look. Okay. That looks pretty good. Maybe he'll be headed up to the top to see something. Because I want to make sure that I give these fish a place to be. I want them to look like they belong. And in nature, these fish are very busy. They spend all day looking for food. Okay. All right, now I need to put, let me come back over here. Move my other fish and things away. And I need to, whoops, hold on. I need to set up my machine with black thread and a black bobbin. I thought oh, that's right, I changed machine. I've got my repaired machine back, sewed the things on it yesterday, and it was wonderful. So, okay, bring my trash can over here, and let me change my thread. So, what is everybody doing today? Are you going to watch the Memorial Day PBS series? Are you going to read a good book? It's kind of the kickoff for summer, as they say. And I don't often, I'm not one who, not anymore. I don't do a lot of traveling and having cookouts and things. I used to, but not now. But we just kind of, sometimes we'll make, whoops, hold on. Sometimes we'll cook out on the grill or something. And then sometimes we just watch something good on TV. But do y'all have any kind of traditions or things that you like doing for holidays? Alberta's here. Which Alberta? Oh, our Alberta from Alabama. Hi, sweetie. All right. Got my bobbin wound up. There. Good job. My granddaughter the other day texted me, and she said, I've spent an hour or a half hour trying to thread this machine. Do you have any way? And I very well remember the first time I started working with sewing machines going, how in the world, what do you do with this? You know, new modern machines come with numbers and a diagram. But back then, it was like a secret code. So I said, okay, take a couple quick little pictures. Thank goodness for digital pictures. And think of this. She had a bobbin that you put in from the front, not a drop-in. And So I was explaining to her how to put the bobbin in the metal bobbin case, and then kissing fish. Oh yes, I remember that. So I had to try to tell her, okay, you hold the bobbin in your hand. You want the thread going over the top and pointing left. Put it in the bobbin case. And then I was trying to tell her about how to hold it together really good. And when you go to put it in the machine, that the handle should point to the right and you want it to snap in. And then trying to help her route it through her machine. And she's so smart. She got it so fast. So I was worried, oh, how do you explain that, And we were texting. Well, no, I ended up calling her. I did end up phone calling her because I thought I need to give her a little more information. But I told her on one of my new machines, I said, and I had to teach her how to bring the bobbin thread up. That's tricky to try to explain because she was like, well, I see something come up, but it's like she thought it would like come up and be out. And it's like, no, you dip it down, you grab it, and then you have to kind of pull your top thread so it'll bring it fully out. It's funny sometimes. Hi, Cheryl. You are just in time. But it's so funny when you have to try to describe something like that. It really makes you stop and think. So what I'm going to do now is set my machine on a smaller stitch, probably a 2.0. And then, okay. And so here I've got the fish on the background. And now as I'm sewing, I'm going to feel where the tail, that special fabric is for the tail. And I'm going to, ouch, now that hurt. And that way I can sew just beyond the underneath fabric. And remember, to make this really work, you kind of have to, I was thinking about it, and I said, I guess you kind of have to sew a double line. I'm going to see. Because I want there to be an outline of the background fabric once you cut away to reveal the beautiful fabric underneath. So, like I told you, I do not want to drive over any needles, but I'm trying to figure out how to have enough black background to frame the gorgeous colors. It was so easy when I did the butterfly because I looked for a butterfly that had cutouts in the middle. But now with this fish, I'm having to figure out it as I go. Okay, come up to about right there. And then turn again. My upstairs one has the hover, which I love because as soon as I stop sewing, you have a question. Yes, Miss. Question from Rihanna above too. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to tell Rihanna, anybody that has a question, type in all caps. Rihanna has a question. When you're piecing a quilt, you starch the snot out of the fabric, but that interferes with the scraps being able to stick to the adhesive bonds of interfacing. Yeah, I would say little less starch. Just do a light coating and only do it on the front side of the fabric. Leave the back side so that when you need interfacing to adhere, it will adhere. And don't forget, do not over iron interfacing or fusibles, because what you want to do when you iron them, you want to melt the fusible and have it partly on the one's part of the fabric and partly on the background. If you overheat it, all of it will go into the background because of the way you've got the iron, and then no longer will your top part stick. So do not overfuse. You have to heat it enough to melt it, but don't overdo it. I put the fusible interfacing on the back of this, and it kind of comes with experience and practice to know how much to iron to make it stick, but not to over iron it. And then, because what I would do if I iron this is if I over ironed it, all the adhesive would go to the bottom piece of the fabric, and then the top piece doesn't stick. I do not prepare my crumbs for applique. You can take a wet wipe or a damp washcloth and kind of just go over the fabric a little bit and then let it dry, and that should help, but just don't over starch it. If you ever notice it turning white on the fabric or flaking, it's too much. So what I do is I use a light little spray of starch. Wait a moment before you press, then press. That gives it a chance to sink into the fabric, and then you don't get the flaky whites from over starching. Okay, so now with small stitches, I'm going around and outline stitching my fish. And you will notice on this pattern there's a double line. And well, just also when you do use crumbs, I don't know how much you will be ironing them on as applique. This is called reverse applique because we're putting the black fabric on top and then we'll cut away to show the crumbs. So we're not adhering down anything with this. I'm not using any fusibles. This is all just sewing. The only fusible was the interfacing because I wanted my background to have some stiffness so I could sew stuff on it. Yeah, oh, yep. Ellen's Best Press, pretty good stuff. And I would also, sometimes you just want to add what's called spray sizing. So it's not really, if you don't want starch, but you just want a little something for the fabric, consider sizing. And that just puts in a little bit of the factory fullness that you might have washed out. All right, but I like sewing just beyond the crumb parts of this fish because when you sew beyond, you'll get a nice flat seam at that edge. And also, I should have told you, if you have a needle down feature, use it for this. Really will help in turning the corners. And okay, and you'll notice I'm taking out any unnecessary pins as soon as I can because unnecessary pins will come back to haunt you. They will bite you when you least expect it. But today we're just taking a relaxing holiday kind of show, showing you, helping to, and hoping that you'll have, anytime you have advice or hints, please share them because sometimes y'all might have a much better way to do something. And I'm all for that. I don't have to be right. I like to come on here and teach you, but I don't have to be right. That's the second time that one pin has gotten me. I don't like being nipped by a pen. That hurts. It's so funny when I go in for shots now. It's like, yeah, whatever. I've stuck myself with so many pins. What's one more stick? But when I was in the hospital after my cancer surgery, they would come in to give me, now what is this? There's a big lump under here. Let me check that out real quick. I guess it's just a seam. Yep, it's just a seam. They would come in to give me my blood thinner shots and pain shots, and I would always thank them. And they said, people don't normally thank us when we give them a shot. And I was like, well, I thought it was part of the deal. So, although one time they came in and I was like, okay, I'm done. Don't stick me anymore. All right, now, I started to take out pins, but remember that I haven't done all the little interior stitching yet, so I still need that. All right, so now I'm just going to cut my thread loose, and now I have the outside done. What I'm going to do now is come back, and I really need to do one more set of stitching inside the first set, because that way, I hate to take this off yet. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do the interior things and take this off, I think. I don't know. Who's going fishing? Is anybody? If you want to have the pattern of the fit. Oh, thank you. Yes. And I have 2 ready, and as I do more, I'll have more ready. But, yeah, I thought, I'll go ahead and make these as patterns, because why reinvent the wheel? All right. I'm going to pull this pin back. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to sew these stripes on the fish, because with this being a reverse project, you kind of have to think opposite. And I need lines on here that will allow some of the black fabric to stay. And that is what's going to give it the cool kind of peek at it view. So I'm going to leave these are going to be black lines inside the colorful fish. And it'll make more sense to you once I start cutting it. So let me get, and yeah. And I'm going to do a little gill line, so he'll have that line there. And I think I'm going to kind of make it a double line. Let me see. And then I want him to have a little smile here. I think I can go ahead and probably sew my second line. I'm going to go ahead, if I get to that area so I don't have to cut my thread, I'll go ahead and start working on my second line. And I'll show you what this is going to do as soon as I start cutting. And I'll try to keep looking up. Oh, okay. Don't worry. As soon as I finish, get to a point where I can start cutting it, I'll go all over it again with you. It's truly very simple. In fact, while I'm sewing this, I'll tell you, and then I'll show you. What I'm doing is I took a background and I did the curve method. And if you are new or have forgotten how I sewed the curvy strips together, do you see how easy it was to do these curvy strips? And so what I did is you go back in like a month ago when I was showing you how to do curvy strips, and then you sew those together. It's so easy, and it gives you a wonderful background. And then I saw Angela Walters do something very similar to this. Whoops. I started to, let me go out just a little bit more and then turn to do my second stitch. She did what's called reverse applique, where she made a curvy background, put black over it, and then did on her long arm or whatever quilting method, quilted a great big feather design. Then she took that feather design because she did it on the black fabric, she cut out openings to show the curvy fabric underneath. Well, I was so fascinated by that, I thought, I want to do that. So what I did is made up my own version, which was the butterfly that I did a couple weeks ago. And I'll show you that it's hanging up on my wall. I've had more response for people wanting the butterfly pattern than anything. So then I said, well, you know, I kind of hate to stop this method because it's been so popular. What else can I do with it? And with summer coming up, and I was searching around for ideas, and I thought, aha, what about fish? Well, then I was thinking, how can I do an interesting background for these fish? And then I thought, aha, how about doing a curvy background of ocean colors? Because see how pretty this is? A fantasy, pretty ocean background. And then I can then do the reverse applique with the black and the crumb quilting. First, I thought I would do curvy crumbs. But then I realized that for this to be really striking, I had to make it very small. So, okay, let me see. Some of these I can kind of turn the corner without having to lift up the presser foot. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is just finishing up that double outline. There, now I've done the double outline. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'll break the thread there, and I'm just going to come up, and I'm going to do a line up here right before his fin. Then I'm going to go back and do these lines here. And these lines that I'm doing are where, in between these lines, is where the black is going to stay. Because I want it to be a black outline. But you've got to then think, okay, how does the outline stay there? And so what I'm trying to do is make the fish have enough pattern in it that the outline will show. Otherwise, I could just do crumb fabric, cut a fish shape out, and be done with it. But I love this peekaboo method where you do the cutaway and then all that glorious fabric shows. So it'll all make sense. Just trust me. But if you think of in your mind of the butterfly I did, which had the black fabric on top, and when I cut it away for the little openings, all the gorgeous curved piecing below, all the different fabrics showed. All right, so that fin is done, okay? It has been double sewn, and these lines have been done. Now I'm going to come down to the tail, and I'm going to go ahead and just sew here. Okay. Anywhere I can put a seam will help me in leaving a little black there, which makes the peekaboo even more dramatic. Okay. I'll come out to here. And I'm just sewing on either side of these stripes that I gave. And these are design elements, so don't worry. Ouch. That other pen got me. I hope I don't drink too much water today. It might be a water fountain. Okay. So I don't have to cut the thread all the time. I'll just back up this. All right. So some places the thread's going to be thin. Some places the stripe will be thicker. But and I'm just sewing these stripes to meet up with the outside stripes. The hardest thing about teaching a new technique is you don't have the language for it yet. All right, I want to make sure. I want to come back and stitch a line for the bottom of the body so that the fins don't just look like they're part of the body. Instead, they're coming out of the body. Okay? Now come back here, start these stripes. But see, I have to do this sewing or else I can't show you. Because once I start cutting it, if I haven't sewn, it'll be too late. Okay. And feel free to just chat. I know this is not the most exciting thing to watch me do this, but just feel free to chat. I'm almost done. It won't be long. And the lines you put in don't have to be perfect to the pattern, because guess what? Once you pull the paper off, nobody would know. All right, I'm quickly going to just whisk along these stripes, and then I'll be done. I was wondering why my machine wasn't sewing quickly, but I didn't have the little lever turned to the bunny. He was almost to the turtle. And please remember, if my machine sounds a little bit louder on some of this, it's not only going through paper, but it's going through up to 6 or so layers of fabric where the seam allowances in the crumb fabric are. But then when it gets to normal, it just quiets down. Okay, I think I had one more line on this. Okay, one more down here. Okay, so now sewing is done. So now the reveal, and to me, that's the fun part. Okay. I'm going to, well, maybe I'll do it right here since we're right there. All right. Oh, I forgot to bring down my best little pair of snips. Let me see what I can do with these. But what I'm going to do is tear off the pattern. Then I'm going to bring over my light so I can see, because that's the hardest thing, is you're trying to find your way around black stitching on black fabric. All right, so get some of these threads out of the way, get some of the paper pattern pieces out of the way. And if you have some kind of little snips, make sure they're sharp. works really good for this. Okay. Now watch what happens. So I've done stitching, which you can't even really see, but I've left the width, the border sewing around there. Now what I'm going to do is come in here and carefully just snip the top black fabric. Okay, and you have to just make sure you get the top layer because you don't want to go through your crumb layer. And you know, a lot of people, yeah, these aren't very sharp. A lot of people say, okay, well, you can make crumb fabric, but what do you do with it? Well, that is a problem. Let me get my Fiskars scissor sharpener out here. See if I can improve these a little. All right. Oh, look. You see what happens? I'm hoping, Mary, now it's starting to make a little more sense to you. And what I'm doing is finding a way to do that peekaboo look that will reveal the bottom layer. And if somehow part of the fabric wants to come loose or come up, then just take and you can glue it down or stitch it down, no problem. And I don't have to worry about this paper right here because where the paper is left is where the black is going to stay. Because for this method to work, for this kind of peekaboo or reverse applique, you've got to have some of that top layer stitched down. And remember I was telling you, if I just did a single line around it, then how do you have a good secured outline? So see what I've done by doing the two stitchings? I've now got an outline for the fish. Now you could just do one down the middle, but just understand by only having the one, it's liable to want to curl up on you. So, because like, okay, watch this. That now I'm going to trim the outer edge off of this fabric. And you got to be careful. Do not cut the background or you'll have to do a little repair work on that. And remember how I said I wanted to try to have the stitching go beyond the crumb fabric? Because once it sticks out, it is really finicky to try to get it out of the way. So that way you got to see just what I meant. But watch this. This is cutting away the part you don't need of the fish to show the water behind it. This when you cut away all the excess black, it either reveals the color or the background. Okay? And what I will do, the best way to do this is get by your whatever good table lamp when you're sitting there watching television and relaxing, and you just gently, carefully, but you've got to make sure that your scissors go right up against the stitching so that you can cut very close by and you don't cut your background, okay? So take your time. I'm trying to do it a little faster because I want you to be able to see what some of the end results are. Okay. All right. All right. So let's do another reveal. And and I'm still learning this because I'm just figuring this out for, I don't know if I've seen much of this. I don't think I've seen any of this except what Angela Walters did. Okay. There. So now is it becoming more understanding? Ah. Yeah, it would. A double needle would work really good. I've never used one either, but boy, does that sound cool. All right. And I see a little area. And see, the more I do this, the easier it's going to be for me. But when you're first just trying to, I saw that this little piece of the underneath had come up a little bit. And so I'm just going to put a little spot of glue, and I can go back later and do some stitch it down if I want. This is just a for fun project. It will never get entered in a show. This is just for fun. Wow. So now you're having a chance to see what makes this so much fun. The reveal, and you never know with crumb fabric, you never know what you're going to get under there because it changes. It's so varied. That's really cute. So now you see the tail. Let's do part of the body. And if you don't want, you can always print your thing. This is just printer paper, but you could always use a tissue paper, manila paper, or something that, okay. Now we need to get this section open and see how I just carefully kind of go in and snip so that I know I'm not cutting the underneath fabric. Oh, look at this. This is a beautiful color. And see, the only way I have, I wanted that line. Remember that I wanted that line? So, okay. Now this paper, when it comes off, is just going to show the black fabric because that's one of the black stripes. And the black fabric gives the fish its personality, its form. Okay, so now I'm going to lift off this paper. Now let's say you didn't want to have to pull the paper off. If you've got a good enough marker, mark where to sew, and you won't even have to follow or pull off the paper afterwards. All right, so let me cut this. You just want to make sure that when you cut, you get them nice and even. Now I'm not going to wash this. This is just a fun wall quilt. But if you were worried you'd ever have to wash it, you could take some fray check and put on the seams. But I shortened the stitch, but here's fray check. And if you worried that it might come unraveled, then you can just run a little bit of fray check right along the stitching and it won't come apart. So I love having fray check because you never know. All right, I'm going to cut another segment here because we've got your show and tell to go see. I have got some new pictures from a couple people I'm very excited about. And here we're going to have another section. And that's why when I was thinking of the fish to put on here, each fish, I think, okay, how do I have the black? How do I put the black on? Now, if I were to go back and do it again, I might make it a little narrower. Might make those stripes just a little narrower. And I can cut, by cutting right up to the stitching, I can make it look narrower too. All right. But now you see why I wanted crumb fabric, not just curved fabric, because I wanted to be able to get in here, and when I do the reveal, I wanted plenty of color behind this fish. Okay, let's do one more stripe. Ah, that's a great idea. You would cut the paper and top layer together. I would do that, but you know what I'm afraid of? Is that if I cut the paper at the same time as this black fabric, I might not be able to feel if I'm cutting the underneath fabric. But whatever works for you, you go for. I just like to be able to be really certain I'm not cutting the wrong thing. But yeah, please, and I love when you put down questions or what if you did this, like the double needle idea. Man, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. And it's just cutting close enough to the stitching. And if your stitches are small enough, it helps keep you from cutting them. It helps keep the fabric from fraying. But look how cute this is coming out. Isn't that so cute? And then as I do a fish, I can decide how thick to make the outline, how thin to make the outline, like right here. And this, the part that is the most dangerous to cut is right here when you cut it loose from the outside edges. And I'm really feeling right where that blade is going so I don't accidentally cut the background because the background's not as thick as the crumb fabric, okay? So once I start cutting more and more of this away, then the design becomes very revealed and purposeful, and you get to see, I need a little touch of glue right there. That's the tricky part for me, is figuring out where to make the seams so that I've got everything sewed down. But it's so easy to just run along that with a couple little stitches. So, all right. Let's see. This is the tricky part. And like I say, your black stitching on black fabric, could it be harder? But I wouldn't want to do white stitching, but I'm going to be glad to do some of the fish in lighter colors, so it becomes a little easier. And I would just do the stitching with as close to a match of the background of the outline color as I can. But let's peek and see what's going on under here. Let's see how this did. I think in the other fish too, I'm going to try to make the outlines, the outline area a little narrower. But since this is the first time I've done this, it's kind of learn as I go. And I'm hoping that you will not be afraid to just jump in and try something. You know, this is just all little scraps of fabric. And so I'm not really wasting anything. The black is leftover pieces from quilts. The crumbs, you know, they're leftover. Okay. And even the background are just some strips. They're not, you know, extensive. Now let's get this one. But I love the reveal. This is the fun part. And this is a great thing to work on in the evening with one of my really good hot lamps. Look at this. Isn't that cute? And here some of the crumb fabric is right there. But I'm just cutting this a little bit more away for you. All right, there. So I'm hoping that you are getting a chance to see how cute this is. Okay, let's cut one more panel. It's kind of addictive. I want to keep going around and doing some more reveals. Okay, now I want to do one thing really quickly. I want to see how this face is going to work. So let me okay. And that's a little gill. I've got a smile and a gill. Let's see. Let's see what we're going to have. And this way, it'll give me a chance to put my first eye on a fish. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. I love seeing the color pop out. But, you know, people love making crumb fabric, but you always wonder, what in the world am I going to do with it? Sorry, I know my big hands are getting in the way of the reveal here. Oh, this is so cute. All right. Oh, so cute. All right, so this now, but you can see a problem here. He needs an eyeball. Let me do this real quick. If it's good if you can get those snips right in and just kind of let the blades cut and put as you're pushing. That's nice. Okay, let me do this real quick. This is so sweet. I'm loving this little fish. His name is Sydney. I have decided. This is Sydney. Okay, so now he needs an eyeball. So let me look. Oh, that's kind of pretty. Maybe he needs a big eyeball. Let's see. Let me see. As soon as I saw this fabric, I thought, oh my goodness, this would be wonderful for eyeballs. Okay, I'm going to cut a nice wide background around his eyeball. Because until they have eyes, they don't have much of a personality, do they? All right, and what I'm going to do for this one right now, so I don't have to do a whole bunch of sewing, I'm going to glue the eyeball on. Oh, that's so cute. And see, you know, I could draw my own eyeball, but why not let the fabric do it for you? Sometimes this is a whole lot of fun. All right, so now what I'm going to do is draw. Oops, let me see if I have a different marker. And I love it when y'all share your ideas and ways you can do things, because I love learning as much as, let me see, I think I love learning as much as you do. And, okay, so now I did the black part of the eye. Well, guess what I need now? I need a little shadow on that eye. So watch this. I get out my white acrylic paint. I mean, not a shadow, but a bright spot. There we go. So now he's starting to have some personality. And let me... So I'm liking this, and if I had it to do over again, I'm going to do the outlines a little narrower. But I think it, you know, and then as I keep cutting and tearing off the fabric, you'll have a chance to reveal the colors and the black stripes, because you know how angelfish tend to have black stripes on them. But I think that he is cute as can be. And I'll hold up the background so you get a better chance to see just how cute he is. And you know, I'm liking, was it Rihanna that said double needle? Because that way too, it would keep it, the stripes from being too wide. It's hard to tell when you're just working from paper and stuff. It's hard to tell what that stripe is really going to look like. And if with cutting your what was I going to say? But this is really cute. And for the next ones, I'm going to either sew just a single line or sew the two lines very close together. The best way is probably to sew two lines closer together, because with the two lines, you end up having more to hold the black fabric in place. You need the outline fabric to have the full effect. Okay. And you can even take a damp cloth to get all the little tiny bits of paper off. And I'm going to show you one more thing that's really good for getting all the little scraps off, is come back in with your sticky roller and pick up all the loose bits. Okay. All right. One last reveal. I know I said that a couple of reveals ago. It's just so addictive to see the results. It is so much fun. And like I said, cut the black fabric as close to your stitching as you can to reveal as much color. Actually, you know, once you kind of get into it, it gets pretty easy. And just use your fingernail to get any little scraps out, and then use your roller to pick them up. Okay. And I did notice one thing that I could do. I noticed that I left a little more than I needed to here. So the more I can trim these back to the stitching, then the more color will be revealed. So the next time I'm going to be here on Sunday, I'm going to do another fish, and then we're going to try to do what Jody talked about, which is putting curved pieces together to be the kelp or the seaweed. We're just going to have all kinds of fun, and I might try to use sequins for bubbles. I don't know. The sky's the limit. If you have any suggestions on ways that we can embellish this guy, I would love to do it. So, all right, let me lean the camera up. I got to stop because I'll keep going until tonight on this if someone doesn't stop me. But look at this. So here's our cute little Sydney fish. And once I take out the rest of the paper and reveal the rest of the color, it would be a great way to put something on a t-shirt. Oh, that's a great, let's do some couching. Let's bring out some of our fancy threads, our yarns, and couch things growing in the sea. And what would be really cute is to have a little bit of seaweed or kelp kind of come up, and he's peeking out from behind it. So we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Do you see the first fish down there that I did last week? Well, I haven't finished him any. I wanted to start with a fresh new fish. But this is good. There's going to be a lot of, let's do a turtle. Ooh. And you know, we could do turtles with all greens and yellows. You don't have to put different colors in the turtle if you don't want to. But since it's your world, you can put whatever colors you want. Couching, okay. Couching is when you take like a yarn, a heavy thing, and you stitch it on with your sewing machine. And I was looking up couching feet the other day because I'd like to do some couching. And so I've got to look at all of my different sewing machine feet. And there may be one you can use like a free motion foot with a reasonably small hole in it. Because if you do that, once you put the specialty yarn through that hole, then as you're sewing, you automatically will sew the yarn down. So it's just a way of adding yarn and fancy threads to your work. That, you know, if it's something that is too thick to go through the needle to be like used as thread, and so you just have to have a foot that has some kind of little way to work a yarn in it. Like some of them have like a wavy little clip that lays like this. Then if you can get the yarn under there and it'll move freely, then what you do is as you sew, you just feed the yarn in. Once it starts sewing on the yarn, it'll keep going. So, We'll do some work on couching. I think that would be great. And let's go to town. I'm very lucky to have had a sister-in-law who loves to knit and has friends that have all kinds of knitting yarn that they thought they wanted. And when they got it, they didn't like it. So, I asked for any scraps or anything they didn't want, and they sent me a bunch. So I have all kinds of fun little yarns. So here is Sydney, and he'll have a friend down there as soon as I finish sewing all of it and taking it out. And then I'm going to add some other fish, but I'm going to use some different colors for their background. So that way, not every fish is black. Okay? So, all right. I'm hoping that is cute. You know, we could add a clam. We could put a little crab kind of walking by. This is going to be, oh, Kathy, we'd love to see a picture of it. This is just going to be something fun for us to play with. But see how it looks different than if you just cut this fabric into a fish and put it on. There's something about the reveal and the spontaneity of what comes out of this. I think it'll be fun. Now you'll see my butterfly. And the butterfly was the perfect pattern that I found because the black was the base of the butterfly with the little peekaboo openings in the wings. So now you'll see why I wanted to do something else with this method. It's so darn cute. So there is today's project. And let's go see what you've been sewing, because you've been making some great stuff. Let me turn off the light here. And let's see what you have done. Thank you for sticking with me through all that. I know it took a while, but Mary, did I answer all your questions? Pearls. Oh, wouldn't that? Let's do it. Let's do 3D. You know, can we work on making the turtle shell stuffed? Okay. I think that could be fun. Trapunto. I think that we have a lot of fun. Let me clean this lens real quick. I think that we could come up with a whole bunch of fun things to do. What I would like for you to do while I'm off for a break, write a little note for yourself with any ideas you come up with. And when I get, we're going to try them. So you use free motion couch, yes. And you can use a free motion foot that has a small hole in the center, and that would probably work very well. So be thinking of the ideas, and thank Carol, you're delightful. Thank you so much for coming back, because you are so good with the information, while Miss Marcia is so good with welcoming everyone. We've got a great system, and thank you so much. All right, let's go to photos and see what we've got. All right. You know, on Thursday, well, here, let's first go to this. This is fish art. So what I did, because you know how I do this kind of stuff, I decide on what I think I want to do, and then while I'm deciding on that, I go on the great internet and bring up idea after idea. Look at these. Aren't they beautiful? Look at this guy. I don't think he lives under the water, but he'd be fun. These are all things that you can do with crumb piecing. Oh, I did a black and white because I was looking for an outline. This fellow, I made black and white outline. Look at this. How cool is that? So I just was looking, I look for anything that gives me an idea, that gets me excited about what's the next project. But do you see how with these images, crumb piecing fit perfectly? Now, let's say you didn't want to do the outline fabric. What you could do is cut it out of crumb piecing and just do a satin stitch around the edge to give him some definition. You see? So that would work too. So I like for you to use as many ideas that you can come up with. Look at this. Look at all the curved piecing in there. And then the pieced fish. Doesn't that get your mind going? Look at this fellow. He is beautiful. At first, I thought of just doing a fish. But how do you decide on which one to do? So I said, well, if I do a background, I can do a bunch of fish. And you know, Deb, more is better. Oh, here's a cute little angel-type fish. Look at this guy. I love his little expression. Oops. That's what I would name him. Oops. Look at these. Look at the color. That's what made me think of crumb piecing. It's all that color. I bet you could come up with so many wonderful ideas. And it's just a way of using fun and color and joyful color as a way to welcome summer. Look at this. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? Now, what if you had different kinds of patterned fabric you could use? Or hand embroidery stitches? How could you turn that into your very own work of art? Embellishing. Now look at this fellow. Beautiful, beautiful. Now I'm showing you these as ideas because I'm sure most of this stuff is copyrighted. But what you do is look for your inspiration and then make it your own. Now this is cute because this is showing what Jody was talking about and adding to that whole curved appeal that with the theme we're running with. But look at these cute little sea cucumbers and in bright colors because this is your world. You make them the colors you want. Look at this. That is gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? But once again, it made me think of curved piecing. It made me think of crumb quilting. And then this is a ceramic. Isn't that? That is fabulous. Just fabulous. Look at this fellow. That looks like something from the Tula Pink or K Facet collection, doesn't it? Love it. Love it. So you can do your fish any way you want. If Van Gogh had painted a fish, this would be it. But this is where I got the idea of I could use the black stripes in the outline. And this fish, pardon me for that sneeze. But look, I don't know what kind of fish this is, but that sure is interesting. Look at this one. So as you see, the sky is the limit. This even has the look of that cutout, you know, from a black background you cut out to expose the color beneath. Look at these. Isn't that cute? So I'm hoping this gave you some good ideas. It kind of shows you what I was excited about to try. And because, you know, this is my folder for the curved piecing. And it's just, this is one more step on that piecing, that whole experience. And as you see, this is how I did the butterfly. I have the pattern you can get. And we sewed the black fabric down over the curved piecing colors. And, you know, there's so many ways to think about this. Look at this one. This is like a tree of life that's the reverse applique. So there's a lot we can look at to draw inspiration. And I just love that. All right, so let's go back and see what y'all are doing. We've got a beautiful, I hope Alberta is still here because I'm showing her baby quilt again. Love, love, love that quilt. Thank you, Alberta, for sending that photo. Anyone who would like to have their photo on our show and tell, please send your pictures. If you're a member of our group, you can post them on there and I can grab them, or you can send them here to me at OurTimeToQuilt@twc.com, and I will post your photo to our show and tell. Miss Betty Middleton did this amazing swan, and she and Jody are our inspiration people for doing our Thursday night pet portraits. And in 2 weeks, I'm taking a 2-week break from that, but then we'll come back and finish working on our pet portrait. So here, I got to show you. Here is Charlene's beautiful new great-grandson. And isn't he just the most beautiful little thing? She was so excited waiting for him to be born. Precious new life. All right, now let's see. I'll come back and check mine at the end. Talking about pet portraits. Look at what Darlene sent me. Wait a minute. I think I got that name wrong. Hold on a second. Dolores. I'm sorry. I knew I had that wrong. I didn't know what I had done. This is Dolores. She did a challenge of doing pet portraits using different colors. And this is what Jody has been teaching us on Thursday nights, because if you get the light and the dark and the shadow and all of that, if you get all of that right, you can see a pet in any color, anything you can dream of, and it's still the same pup. I love polka dots and gingham, anything you can think of. So I'm so glad she sent these to us. Look at that. Isn't that cute? And the inspiration for that one was she couldn't find her glasses. And here she had done a beautiful, realistic portrait of her pup. And it looks like she used textured threads. It is beautiful. But when she realized that's where her glasses had been hiding, she had the inspiration to make this picture. Isn't that precious? So thank you, Dolores, for giving us that inspiration. And Miss Jeannie, I'm going to show this again. This is the block we used for the center of Miss Jody's quilt. And our Jeannie made that. Beautiful work. All right. She's been busy doing hand sewing. She's been away from her sewing machine, but she's been making baby bibs and things like that. Okay. And in remembering our Miss Jody's expertise and inspiration for our pet portraits is her collection, her Saturday matinee collection of arch villains, monster matinees. Isn't it beautiful? Beautiful. So you can see with just paying attention to tint, to light, dark, to shapes, outlines, all of that. Look what you can do. Isn't that amazing? So thank you, Miss Jody, for all that you've been teaching us with this. And then we've got Miss Jody and Terry working hard, going through the chemo. She's our hero. This is what she takes to work on each weekly session. She's a quarter of the way there. So, and then here is the block of the month she's doing from the quilt show. Beautiful work. And here's the quilt we sent her to let her know that we're thinking of her. And handmade by Our Time to Quilt. So we love our Miss Jody. All right, so now let's go back and see what Kathy Boyd, these are her wonderful, she made this because of Lisa Capon Quilt's YouTube show on painted fabric. And then look at this beautiful piece across. So Kathy has been very busy, and here's another wonderful big star. Don't we love stars? So way to go, Miss Kathy. All right. The next person is Kathy Klein. I hope she's still here so we can applaud her award-winning quilt. This is I just forgot her name now. Hold on. Adita Sitar. One of her beautiful quilt patterns, which Kathy has made her very own. It is gorgeous. Congratulations, Kathy. All right, now let's see. Kim Hicks. Let's see what Kim, oh yeah, she was showing us this is a baby quilt she made, and they also did the January 1st mystery quilt that we did. Look at the beautiful quilting. Pam outdid herself. Look at this. So she's one of Kim's friends, and she did an outstanding job. Okay, now let's see. Oh, Linda, yeah, she did share one of her wonderful collage, hand-embroidered, embellished pieces of art. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful. Okay, then I'll come back here. Miss Mary, oh yes, the pictures that we had of her wonderful trip to a botanic garden. And I know she has told me the name of the gardens, and I apologize, I forget, but the pictures are lovely. Thank you, Miss Mary. All right, let's see, Miss Marcia. Oh, I can't tell you who this is for, but Miss Marcia's been working on a beautiful shawl. Beautiful. Okay. Then Miss Melanie, some of her cute works. Looks like I'm going to need some new pictures. I love her characters. They're so cute. Look at this. I love her collage. There's so much you can do with collage fabrics. Beautiful work. Thank you, hon. Thank you, Miss Melanie. I need to write back to her. Oh, here is Miss Michelle's coup de grace. I mean, that is gorgeous. And her color choices are wonderful. Just beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Miss Michelle. All right, Miss Mitty. Look at these amazing things Miss Mitty has been working on. She took a class. And I think it was through Craftsy. So taking classes is a wonderful way to open up your world. Here is her curved piece pillow. And then, oh my goodness, look at this. Is that amazing? And Mitty's style comes through in this wonderful collage quilt, full of embellishment and stitches, thread sketching and painting. Wonderful. Thank you, Miss Mitty. And Miss Mitty, I'm going to miss her. She might not be here with us as much because she's got to get a second job. Look, I didn't oh yes, I had forgotten. One of our new members, Nazi, did her own butterfly. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Wonderful, wonderful. Love it. Thank you, Nazi. Wow. Okay, and do we have Miss Polly? Oh, yes, I can't forget these. Miss Polly working on a wonderful applique quilt, doing a hand blanket stitch. Just beautiful. I love handwork, I tell you. Well, it might be a machine blanket stitch, but it is beautiful. Now, our newest member, Rihanna. Look at this amazing dragon quilt. I figured as soon as Carol saw this one, she would love it. Carol loves making things like this. And then look at this. Look at the movement and color in that quilt. extraordinary. Now, Miss Rihanna is a very beginner quilter. This is her first quilt. Hello? Oh my gosh, I haven't attempted a quilt like that, and I've been quilting over 30 years. Is that amazing? Way to go, Rihanna. Here is another view of it. So I said, oh girl, you skipped from the first grade to the 10th grade in quilting. Let me tell you, that is absolutely beautiful. So everyone, please welcome Rihanna to our group. I think she's going to be a fabulous new member. So excited. All right. She's going to be teaching us before we know it. Let me tell you. All right. Let me see what I had. I thought I might have something. Let me see. I'm not seeing anything especially new. Oh, I probably forgot to download some pictures. Yes, I did. And I think my phone is too dead to bring them up. Yep, I think it is. Let me try one thing really quickly. Pull you away for just a moment and see if I can bring them up this way. Let me see. Oops, hold on. Nope, not that. I got so excited I forgot to bring up. Let me see. Nope, it won't let me bring it up because my phone is toasted. All right, so thank you so much for sending those. Please feel free to send me any of your photos that we can use in the show and tell, because we love show and tell. And send them to OurTimeToQuilt@twc.com, and I'll be sure to put them on. All right. So everybody, let's see. Oh, I thought you would like Rihanna's dragon quilt, Carol. I knew you'd like that. So how is everybody? Let me see. Any further questions? Oh, Carol, you have been amazing. And Rihanna, thank you. The stripes are the backing for the dragon quilt? Oh my goodness. Is this woman amazing or what? I'm lucky if I put the cheapest piece of backing on a quilt. That is amazing. Beautiful. I thought the colors kind of went with it, but I didn't realize. Wow. Wow, Rihanna. Thank you for finding us. This is exciting. We've got so many wonderful, talented people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, and sorry, it looks like you were accidentally blipped for a moment, Miss Mary, but I'm sure that was a mistake. So good. Yep, Miss Mary's back. Good, good, good. And I want to thank my two wonderful moderators, our welcome wagon, Miss Marcia from more beautiful downtown Omaha, Nebraska. And how wonderful is it to see our Carol back? Oh, I'm so happy. In fact, if you'd like to see some very beautiful work, check out the Magical Touch Studio. And in fact, Carol, do you mind putting, is there a link you can put to your site? Because you have amazing work and I'd like to show you off. So anyway, I think I'm tired. This preparing to take a break, this preparing to have some downtime is exhausting. And I hope you like my new dollar store sign, Time to Relax with our flamingo. Oh, good. Carol put up her link. Please go check out Carol's work. It's absolutely beautiful. She's an amazing woman with a whole lot of interest. In fact, so many of our ladies, Rihanna has a multitude of interest. You know, so many of us are Renaissance women. How does that sounds nice, doesn't it? And we've done a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And don't forget, when summer's here, it's time for Deb to do things that I haven't done before or haven't done in a long time. This summer, I hope to weave a basket, which of course I'll share with you. I'm going to do some more indigo dyeing, which I know I need to cut up some charm packs. I haven't had the time, but I will. And I want to do some more resin work. I want to do some ice dyeing. Yes, for Procyon dyes. So I've got a whole bunch of things. I want to do some concrete work. Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you. I tell you what, I love this group. I love the energy you all bring to me. And I won't be here next Sunday, but I'll be here the next one. And but it's going to be nice to have some downtime because I think I get going so fast. Sometimes I think I see smoke coming out of my ears. So it's time to wind that back. I haven't read a good book in ages, so I'm going to plan to do some reading, sleeping, relaxing. Oh, thank you, Carol. Please do email me to catch up. And I owe Melanie an email. I owe Janice an email. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for everything you do. Yes, thanks to Marcia and Carol. And I hope that they make everybody feel as welcome as they make me feel. So send me pictures of your work for our next show and tell. I'd love to see what you're doing. I get so inspired seeing your work. I think that's all for me, unless you have any more questions. And we will continue with our fishy project. And even if you just want to work on your crumb piecings so that you will be ready to do your fish. But won't it be fun to see what the fish look like with different color backgrounds, with a yellow or a green or who knows? I was even thinking of a gold lame background. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? But you know that book, the child's book, Rainbow Fish. So let's make bunches of fish out of many different colors of rainbows. So Sydney would like to say thank you for joining us. And he will be back in 2 weeks, and he'll bring some new friends with him. Take good care. Y'all are the best. I love that. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. My kids loved that book. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care, Miss Jody.